Well, guys, it's an absolute pleasure. It's a dream come true. I'm talking to one of the legendary guitarists in the world who are definitely coming to Australia next couple of months. And I'm talking to Yngwie Malmsteen. Good morning from Australia.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, man. And it's an absolute pleasure to have you. It's a dream. I'm living the dream. But you guys are coming to Australia very shortly. Are you excited to come back to Australia?
Of course, yes. Every time is great. Every time it's been amazing. So, yeah, I'm very much looking forward to coming back.
Yeah. You also just recently been inducted into the Swedish Music Hall of Fame. Are you honoured to achieve that?
Yeah, yes, of course. Very much so. It's a great honour, especially since, there was a lot of doubts as me growing up over there, So, yeah, no, it's awesome. It's kind of heartwarming.
The good thing about you is your technique. Everybody says that you're a classic shredder on the guitar. But was that your style when you first picked up the guitar, or was that just a technique that you interpreted yourself?
Well, it's a long story, and I describe it very, very much in detail in my book, Relentless. I wrote a book called Yngwie Malmsteen's memoir, Relentless, if you guys want to check it out. And what happened was that I started very early as a, classically trained, got piano lessons, stuff like that. I was a little kid. When I was 5 years old, I got my first guitar. My older brother and sister were already musicians. So I started playing like rock and roll blues style stuff. And I found a little bit limiting, so I started to listen to classical violin, mainly Bach and Vivaldi and Paganini, stuff like this. And the classical violin, virtuoso violin, was something I incorporated to my guitar playing. And that's how my style became, the way it is.
Yeah, it is.
I didn't make it into a guitar style, more like a violin, So that's how it happened. But much more involved than that, but that was a short version.
Yeah. Well, over the years, there's been great guitar players like Eddie Van Halen, and there's been Slash, there's been, Jimi Hendrix, who was one of the original guitar players from the 70s, or early mid-60s, late 70s, before he passed away. But I just want to ask, has there been any aspiring guitarists over the years that captured your eye?
Well, it's kind of a funny question because I decided many, many years ago that I was more interested in the classical field, so that I kind of took my eye off that whole thing, So I'm sure there's many, many good ones, but I just actually mention one offhand like that,
Yeah.
It's just I was more interested in the Vivaldis and the Mozarts and stuff like that, So that's where I was going.
You also in the process right now doing a album. I just want to ask, can you give the fans a little bit of a rundown of what to expect this time around compared to what's been happening in the history of you being around?
It's a very Malmsteen-esque record, It's very neoclassical again. I'd say it's a little more bombastic than the last one, But it's not finished yet, so we'll have to wait. I'm still working on it.
I just want to go on a bit of a positive touch. Dimebag Darrell was one of the great guitar players in the world for Pantera. You met Dimebag before, and there was a bit of a thing going on. I want to ask, what's your fun memories of Dimebag Darrell?
I thought the band was really good. I thought it was a great band, and they were very pure into what they was doing, So which I always appreciate,
Yeah.
I couldn't, tell you too much about it because I was not that involved, But what I've heard, I thought was really good, aggressive stuff,
Yeah. Well, over the years, what has changed in the music business in your interpretation? I know back when you started and bands was on the rise in the 80s and they had multiple recording albums out there and recording companies out there. But nowadays, there's not many recording albums out there. Like, the companies are just not there. I just want to ask, what do you think has changed over the years in your interpretation?
Well, it's quite simple, really. I mean, what happened was that with the digital downloads and the fact that people, didn't want to, pay $10 or whatever for a record, made it so that the industry, quote unquote, kind of like folded up and left. And because all the people that used to make a lot of money on the music industry don't make the money anymore, So the musicians are obviously still there, but and the musicians are still making the music and everything. But the distribution and the retailers and the labels and the publishing companies and all that stuff, they had to go somewhere else and do something else. So therefore, there's the actual gross money is not interesting to them, So that's the main thing that's changed. You know what I'm saying? And from before.
Yeah, because it's just so hard for bands to get a name out there or even an album out there nowadays. And I think a positive, social media like Facebook and Twitter, just to get the band heard, is a positive, but there's also a negative with the legal download. So you get the good with the bad. But one thing I tend to bang my head up on against the table is that there are some guitar players who just don't have the feel to be a guitar player. My question is, do you have any advice for any young guitarist that might be inspired by you to pick up a guitar or want to play a guitar in a band?
Well, it depends. Everybody has to have their own personal goals, on that. If you want to be successful, is one thing. Going to be an amazing musician, that's another, But if you want to be a really good musician, there's really there's no shortcut to it, It's only hard work, blood, sweat, and tears. That's it, So I wish I could say there was some magic trick to it, but it's not, there isn't.
Yeah. Another great guitar player that I like is Ace Frehley. I want to ask, have you been capturing his latest solo album, Space Invader?
I have not heard it, no.
Yeah. No, it just...
I was hanging out with him one time about, 20 years ago.
Yeah. No, it's just the way he plays his guitar. He just holds that note for a long period of time. I just want to ask, with the way that you play, and some of these players like Eddie Van Halen, he doesn't actually shred, he finger taps, but you can get two worlds colliding, so to speak. You have the shredding, you have the finger tapping, but was that the way to involve the music taste back in the 80s when you had all these different styles of playing guitar?
Well, there's always been a lot of different ones. I mean, there was, even in the early 70s, guys that would go more crazy, Dimmy All on those guys. And then there was Angus Young and Bill Gibbons that would play a little more simple stuff. And that's the beauty of it, there was more than one style, Personally, I kind of left all that stuff behind because I was more into the classical stuff, But at the same time, as I do that, I love AC/DC and ZZ Top and Queen and a lot of rock and roll bands, So to me, it all has certain value as a piece in the puzzle, It's what it is.
Yeah. You just released, well, you had a very busy couple of months, actually, because you just released a double CD DVD album live in Tampa, and you played a sold-out shows in Tokyo and Bucharest as well, with amazing lineup including Ozzy Osbourne and Kiss for the Monsters of Rock Festival in Brazil. I just want to ask, how well was that concert for you?
Well, the one in Monsters of Rock is actually coming up next week. It's not been done yet.
Yeah.
But the one in Japan, it was really good, I've done a lot of stuff like that lately. I'm not just flying for a show and that's it, which is kind of cool in a way because it keeps you fresh and keeps you on the toes. And before I come down to Australia now, I'm going to go to Europe and then, first South America, then Europe. And so it's always something. And in the meantime as well, I'm recording. So it's busy like crazy. You know?
Was that one of the reasons why the tour was postponed for a later date, because you were busy?
I'm not really sure exactly what the reasons were, but that could be, yeah.
Yeah, the concert earlier this year was postponed due to you being busy and it being pushed back, or you know anything about that? Because you were supposed to come out. Yeah, you were supposed to be here in February.
Yeah, there's agents like that to look after stuff. I don't know.
That's okay. But no, it's just great. I mean, I've been seeing you over the years, just the way that you have not only inspired musicians to pick up the guitars, but also the way that you interpretate your musical talent through the guitar. I mean, it's just phenomenal. And you are one of the best guitar players in the world as I speak. But
thank you.
Do you have any fun memories of Australia? Have you got any stories you'd like to share, just briefly?
Well, I mean, it's been so many things. It's hard off the cuff like that. I forget now that I was just a couple of years ago. I was there. The family of the crocodile hunter came, and he had just passed, and they came with his jacket, and he wanted to sign and stuff like this. So that was kind of touching, But no, it's all been good all the time. You know, unfortunately, the most of the time when you do it, you go in and do your show, and that's it. You have to concentrate on that, and you do a lot of interviews and this and that, whatever, and that's what you do. But I've always had a great time.
Yeah. It's good to see that. It's good to see that. But also, fans, you can get Yngwie Malmsteen on the 4th of June. It starts over in Auckland at the Powerstation, and it's rounding out on the 13th of June over at the factory in Sydney. I believe there's still meet and greet still available on the website through the ticketing outlets out there. And also, if you want to get down there, make sure you do, because this is a gig not to be missed. But Yngwie, I just want to ask, what are the fans expecting this time around on the tour?
The unexpected. No, it's got to be a full blast, high energy show. The set list has not been. The set list I don't put together until right before I go on. So I'm sure people dig it, because it's going to be very exciting. It's going to be a very tight band. It's going to be good, very good.
Yeah, and it's good to see that you come to play at especially here in Adelaide, the HQ. There's many people play there before. It's a great atmosphere, a good sound quality as well. You'll love the place, and I'll be there. I'll be there on the 12th of June at the HQ. But the good thing about it is you are coming down to play that guitar like you play it all the time, and also the fans should come out in droves to see you, because if they don't, there's something wrong with them, in my book. But, Yngwie, it's all the time we got for, man. It's 15 minutes. It's not enough for me to talk to you. But I know. But you're a very busy man. One last thing you'd like to say to the fans down under?
Well, like you said it, don't miss this.
Yeah.
That come out. That'd be the greatest thing.
Yeah.
Show of the century. Yeah.
All right, guys, get your tickets from Metropolis Touring, and also go on tornblower.com. They're bringing Yngwie Malmsteen out. Yngwie, it's an absolute pleasure, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time when you're here in Australia.
Thank you.
Thank you, mate. Bye.
Bye-bye.